Hey guys, I'm Luke Visa with Relentless Training Core. I want to talk to you today about posture and alignment for your knees. What in the world does posture and alignment have to do with your knees? Well, your body is a kinetic chain, which means one link of the chain affects the other links. In this video, I want to present some common kinetic chain problems that I see as a trainer and how those can impact your knees. The body will perform best in a neutral and symmetrical body alignment. But before we get started in any of this, there's some basic movements that you need to understand before you can really comprehend how your knees are impacted by your posture. For instance, you may have a problem or a misalignment in your hips or your feet that's impacting the angle of your knees, thus creating some knee pain and discomfort. Your hips can move in a variety of ways. They can anterior tilt, posterior tilt, lateral tilt, side to side, or twist side to side. Any one of those things can impact the alignment of our knees and feet and our spine. So just watch these next few examples to see how the hip alignment can impact the knee alignment. The first example is anterior movement of the hips. This is when the hips are tilted forward. They're tilted forward, creating an arch in your lower back, and inward rotation of your femur and knees, causing your knees to shift toward each other, a valgus and knee alignment. The opposite happens with posterior tilt. Your hips are tilted backward, creating a flat back, and your knees are externally rotated, creating a varus knee alignment. Lateral tilt of the hips obviously has severe impact on your lower back and knee alignment. Because if you're tilted up like this, it appears that you have a shorter leg. Well, the reality is it's just that your hips are tilted. They can be tilted slightly or severe. But when we do that, we tend to shift our weight to one leg. And obviously when you squat, you'll see one of these numbers where your hips are kind of sticking out and they're just not even. This creates some severe problems in the lower half, and especially with the knee alignment, because you're overcompensating using one leg over the other. And then if this overcompensation becomes repetitive and chronic, it can lead to some serious injuries of the overused leg and some maldevelopment in the underused leg. And the hip twist gets a little weird because sometimes the hip pelvis can be twisted or one side can be twisted while the other one remains the same. So then you end up with something like this, and that can obviously present some serious issues. But the importance of this lesson is not to get into very many specifics, to give you some general idea of the movement of the hips and the posture of the hips can impact the alignment of your knees. Now I want to talk about foot alignment and how that impacts your knees. Now your foot alignment can be impacted by your hip alignment. If you have anterior tilt, it causes you to tilt inward on your ankles, and opposite happens with posterior tilt. So the kinetic chain can work downward, but also proper foot placement or the foot placement itself can impact the kinetic chain upward. But watch what happens to my knees with improper foot alignment. Now, I'm going to stay on the outside of my feet, and as you can see, now my knees are not in line with my feet. The angle of my hips are out, and the tibia is kind of tilted inward, and I'm on the outside of my feet. Now I don't have as much push because I don't have as much foot contact with the ground. This creates a very risky move. And you see this a lot when people that squat in tennis shoes. The tennis shoe, especially a running shoe, will cause the foot to tilt outward anyways. And so it's kind of a risky move, especially if you're doing something with a lot of weight. The opposite occurs when I'm on the inside of my feet. See, now my knees cave inwards. And then when I try to squat, I'm just compromising the knee joint entirely. The angle of my femurs are going in, the tibias are going out. Obviously the knee is nowhere close to properly aligned, so I need to try to straighten up, keep everything in the same line, the same plane as I'm doing any kind of heavy lifting or regular lifting, squatting, deadlift, sitting down on my toilet, whatever have you. Try to keep everything in line to keep your knees safe and secure. And one thing I want to make sure I emphasize is that you hear a lot, especially in the world of powerlifting, is pushing the floor hard with your feet. That's a good coaching cue. However, it can present some bad results because what people tend to do is they push through the outside of their feet to try to spread the floor apart, and they end up tilting to the outside of your feet. Obviously this is not good, like we previously mentioned. So what we need to try to do is change our coaching cue a little bit to say, okay, try to corkscrew the floor apart. So you're basically trying to twist the floor apart just slightly, trying to keep the ball of our foot on the ground in contact with the ground and create as much ground surface area as we can, recreating the arch in our foot. And then now everything's in line. My femur is in line with my tibia, which is in line with my ankle, and my foot is in the natural alignment. You can also see my toes are up. I drive my toes up for two reasons. It helps me put the weight more in the center or the heel of my foot, which is where my power is. Plus, it helps me recreate the arch in my foot, which keeps it strong. So why does your body do this? Why does it just get out of line and everything seems to be out of sync? Well, a lot of it's due to just being unaware of our posture. We're just sitting at a desk all day, get to work. We get so busy we don't even think about our posture and how it's affecting us. And thus, our body learns to adapt to that position by lengthening and shortening different muscle groups. What I mean by that, take the hips for instance. The hips will tilt forward. That's usually due to tight hip flexors. And then your hamstrings usually will start to lengthen and your glutes will start to get weak. Now the opposite happens with posterior tilt. Posterior tilt, the hip flexors start to lengthen, hamstrings and glutes start to tighten, and that creates obviously some misalignment, some back pain, knee pain. Or we have created some kind of muscular imbalance to which one muscle group is overpowering another muscle group, causing a weakness or an injury. So what can we do about this? Well, I think the first thing is just being aware of your daily posture and alignment when you're standing, when you're sitting, and going about your daily activities. Second is to be aware of your posture and alignment with regard to exercise and how you position yourself doing certain movements. Number three, make sure you work all body parts. Don't neglect a body part just because you don't like it. Guys, make sure you do legs. And fourth is stretch. Make sure you stay flexible so that you can get into those movements and positions easy to be more functional and productive. And fifth is foam roll, which is another way to massage so that you can get mobile and loosen up those knots and muscles so that you can be more functional in your lifting and to get strong. And again, I'm Luke Beasley, and thank you for watching this video.